Before we start today's video, of course, just like yesterday, I have a huge announcement for everybody. Next Tuesday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be having the election night stream in the great states of Ohio and Indiana. Again, 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on May 3rd, aka next Tuesday. Of course, the link to the stream will be in the description down below. The very first link, and yeah, click the link, like the stream, but also click the reminder button. Reminder, if you click that button, you will be reminded that the stream is starting. So again, go follow that, again, go, like it, whatever, share with your friends, and yeah, I want this to be one of the biggest streams we've had in a while, and I think we can do it. I mean, a lot of people are definitely tuning in for that stream, and again, in the description down below, share with your friends, and yeah. Alright, enough promotion for this stream. Let's get right into the video.
Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo. Then we can be assured that other nations will not treat America with respect, the respect that we deserve.
What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics, back in with a new video, and today we're going to be discussing two more states worth of primaries. I know, we're talking a lot about primaries, and these two states aren't for a while. However, they are starting to get closer. They are in May, so since we talked about May stuff last week, we're going to continue the, I guess you could say the barrage of videos on May primaries, and we're going to be discussing two states that have some significant primaries to them. I'm not going to give endorsements. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. That'll be for a future video. This is kind of in a nutshell, what's happening in these two states. It is, of course, the great states of Oregon and Idaho. And boy, oh boy, are there some pretty big races in these two states. And it may really lead to the fact that the Northwest as a whole, I do think is going to have a red wave, the biggest of the country. You're going to see a lot of flips in Washington, Oregon, even places like Idaho. There'll be a couple flips. Well, not really Idaho, more so like Northern California. There would definitely be a big wave here. And not just at the federal level, but also local level, state level, and all that good stuff. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes, of course, go follow that mysterious Twitter account in the description down below. And yeah, so let's get right into it, folks. Let's discuss two states, Idaho and Oregon. Now, I know Oregon is definitely the more interesting state to talk about, so we're going to get done with Idaho, because Idaho really only has two states. So this is the current state of affairs for the governorship. In the state of Idaho, you have a big, fat rhino as a governor. And reminder, Trump won the state by almost 31. And we have one of the biggest rhinos in the country in Brad Little. Yeah, Brad Little. He is the governor of the great state of Idaho. You know, a state Trump won by 31. And I know Idaho is a state that, yes, it's still very Republican, but it did trend a bit Democrat under Trump, alright? It's a type of voter group, there's a lot of Mormons, they're not necessarily the biggest fan of Trump, but even so, you should be electing someone better than Brad Little. I mean, give me a break. Now, there is hope for this race, alright? There actually is some hope. It is, of course, a primary challenger endorsed by the Orange Man himself, Janice McGeachin. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She is the lieutenant governor of the great state of Idaho. And I gotta say one thing about her. She has a serious shot of winning. Now, there was a weird thing where she was technically governor of Idaho for like a week. It was weird. But essentially, I consider her part of that MAGA-type conservative. And in fact, some issues, she's borderline America First. I mean, this is her issues page. And you scroll down here, and you go down to immigration. This sounds very America first. Look at this, alright? Just this part in particular. Put simply, America's immigration policies need to focus on providing workers for unfilled jobs while limiting chain migration, reducing refugee resettlement, and ending the diversity immigrant visa program. Now, this part here you could question, like, okay, is that a good thing? I don't think so, but even so, the ending chain migration, ending the garbage visa program with diversity, this is very America first type of speak. Now again, I don't consider her full-on America first, but she does have those instincts of an America first conservative. Again, there's some parts that look fairly, how do I say it, very boomer-con. I mean, you go down to America first. I mean, you stand for America first policies, including individual liberty. That's not really America first. I mean, it's good, but that's not really America first. But even so, it is a good platform. She definitely is a MAGA-type conservative, and I do think that she does have a chance of winning. Now again, Brad Little's awful, but he may not be the worst rhino in the state of Idaho. There is a bigger behemoth in Idaho's second. You heard that right, folks. Idaho's second. The district in green. I just selected it. This guy here. Oh boy. This guy is one of the biggest rhinos in the country. Now, he's a big rhino because he controls a lot of Idaho politics. I'm of course talking about Michael Simpson. Again, F's in the chat for Homer Simpson. I mean, he's giving Homer Simpson a bad rep here. He is an awful representative, one of the worst rhinos. But the worst thing is, he essentially controls Idaho politics. That may sound crazy, but look what happened to the past couple of governorship elections. Look who influenced that race the most. This bozo. I mean, we almost had Raul Labrador as governor of Idaho, but this clown got involved. It's like, why did you have to exist? He's awful, and quite frankly, the worst, and one of the worst rhinos in the country. And I do think he has a chance of losing. There is a serious primary challenger, Brian Smith. Now, with primary challengers, I'm always cautious. I'm like, okay, is this guy full of shit? Does he have a chance? And his issues page is solid. I consider it, MAGA type of, agenda. But then you go down here, and Brian Smith is talking about local issues. Now, this is something we don't see much in politics, right? I mean, yeah, people talk about national issues and stuff, but it's like, outside of, very rare instances, do you have candidates, representatives, talking about local issues? And Brian Smith's talking about a big issue at the local level. It's apparently about a dam on Snake River, and essentially it's a very popular thing, and somehow Simpson's against it. I mean, he wants to get rid of the dams, which provide a lot of energy, I guess, for the area. Again, I'm not an expert at Idaho politics, but essentially, the dams are very good for the area, and Simpson wants to get rid of them. It's like, why? So he's running on that. And also, you look at his fundraising numbers, and he's beating Simpson. And Simpson's also pouring a bunch of money in this race. It's like, there's a good chance this guy goes, and nobody's talking about this. This is a pretty big rhino. And if he gets out, alright, if he gets out in a couple weeks, that would be a huge W. A reminder, this is a Trump plus 24 seat. So this isn't like Trump plus 2. There's no reason for this clown Simpson, who is again ruining the name of Homer Simpson, to be elected again. He has no reason for it. And I do hope Brian Smith pulls it off in the end. He has a very good agenda. And he would take out one of the most powerful people in Idaho. That would be huge if that were to happen. Whoops. So yeah, but for now, this is still a rhino district. We of course got Idaho first, a solid representative there. But right now, it's one rhino in the state of Idaho. It's absurd. But that's just Idaho. We of course got the other state, the state of Oregon. And boy, oh boy, there is a big race happening in Oregon. There's going to be an upset at Oregon, all right? I think both at the congressional level and the governorship. Now, the governorship we'll talk about first, or we'll talk about the governorship last. You know what? Let's worry about that later. We got to talk about the two Oregon districts that have a serious shot of flipping, all right? Oregon's 4th, all right? Yes, Oregon's 4th, and Oregon's 5th. These two districts are the two districts everybody should be paying attention to during the primaries. There's a good chance both these flip. Now let's talk with the one that's, least likely to flip first. That is, of course, Oregon's 4th. This is a district that Biden won by around 13.5 points. However, Republicans have a great candidate here, an America First candidate, and Alex Skarlatos, there we go. And he ran in 2020. He ran against a very popular, quote-unquote, moderate incumbent in DeFazio. DeFazio has been there for years. I think 25 years or something like that. It's absurd. But essentially, he's a huge overachiever. Well, guess what? He retired. So Alex has really no real challenger right now. And you go here, you look at the candidates, it's like, you have 8 candidates, and I don't know enough about any of these bozos, to be quite honest. And I really don't see, any of these, as frontrunners. Again, things could change. But here's the thing, though. If a Bernie bro gets out of this race, if a Bernie bro wins the Democrat nomination, Skarlatos is going to win Oregon's 4th. Yes, it's Biden plus 13.5. The difference is, this is a working class type of area. It's fairly white, and it's an area the Republicans should do good in. They just really don't. So if Republicans can actually, get some kind of working class, representative like, Skarlatos, they have a chance of winning. Without DeFazio, this race gets a lot closer. And again, it depends if a Bernie bro gets in as the nominee. Now, there is another one we have to discuss. Oregon's 5th, all right? So Oregon's 4th is kind of a long shot right now. But Oregon's 5th, I think this one's flipping, all right? There is an incumbent running in Kurt Schrader. He's a quote-unquote moderate. He's usually overachieving Democrats. This is a Biden plus 9 seat. I think he overachieves Democrats by 2 or 3 points, I think it is. But here's the catch. Democrats have a big problem. It's called the DSA. If you don't know who the DSA is, look what happened in Nevada when they took over. That's the Democrat Socialist of America in a nutshell. Some of the most incompetent people in the world. Well, in the nation, but still kind of in the world. The point is, these morons think, we're going to run a progressive to the popular moderate incumbent, quote-unquote moderate, Kurt Schrader. They're running a lesbian, right? A lesbian freaking progressive in Jamie McLaurin Skinner. And she has a serious shot of winning. That may seem crazy, but she actually has a legitimate shot of winning. Wanna know why? She has the endorsement of multiple county parties already. Has the endorsements of some big progressive names. It's like, this is fun. And if this does happen, Republicans are going to flip this race no matter what happens. Reminder, progressives always underachieve Democrats nationally by 2 or 3 points. AOC underperformed vastly. All these bozos always underperform. And if Skinner does somehow get the nomination, she's gonna lose. She's gonna get crushed, in my opinion. But there are a couple good Republicans. But the main one I want to talk about is Laurie Chavez Derimer. She is another America First conservative. And quite frankly, she's great on the issues, talking about the issues, running a good campaign, and in this national environment, I think she wins. I think this is a flip for the Republicans. I mean, if we get a former Democrat seat to flip America First, in a Biden +9 seat. That's huge. And she would probably keep it for a while. Knowing the Democrats in Oregon, they're going to keep running progressives. So this is a good shot for Republicans to get a couple good representatives in Oregon's 4th and Oregon's 5th. Both winnable. Just Oregon's 4th a bit harder, but still possible if Skarlatos runs a good campaign. Now we got to discuss the elephant in the room, the governorship. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of shit from the left for this, but here's the thing though. If things play out a certain way, I think Republicans could seriously win the governorship in Oregon. I'm not saying, it's going to be a permanent realignment. I just think with the governorship, right, Oregon was Biden +16. This is a state Democrats always underperform nationally. And in midterm years, it's always a very close race. The governorship is. And Republicans have a couple decent candidates. I know, that's a first. These two candidates I both consider to be kind of that MAGA type conservative. You got Bud Pierce, who I made a video on earlier, but the main frontrunner as of now, is Christine Drazan. Both of these candidates have a solid issues page, both running good campaigns, and they both have a serious shot of winning. Now, for the Democrats, they have a big problem. So, let's just look at the Democrat primary for a second. There's really only two candidates that I would say have any semblance of a chance of winning. There's look how many candidates there are. There's 15? So, yeah. But there's really only two candidates that matter. Tina Kotek and Tobias Reed. Now, here's the thing though. The frontrunner, based on what I know, is Kotek. Guess what? She's a progressive, or whatever. Yes, she's a progressive, endorsed by Warren, endorsed by some of the most progressive people in Oregon. That's not a good sign for Democrats. Again, progressive candidates nationwide always underperform. It's just a fact. And she's getting all the support by all the quote-unquote progressives. And it's very cursed. Now, that's not the problem, right? If Kotek does get the nomination, okay, it's within 10 points, or at least. Here's the problem. Democrats have a third-party candidate that will siphon off a lot of votes from them. Betsy Johnson. You get on here, and it may sound crazy, like, a third party, they get 2% of the vote each time. Well, look at her endorsements. Look at this. This isn't some Joe Schmo. She's getting former Secretary of State's endorser, labor commissioners, a bunch of state representatives, bunch of state senators, and she was a Democrat. And you look at the polling down here. Again, polling is not everything, obviously. You see Johnson's polling around 11%. Again, these polls are a bit off. It's a very small sample size. But even so, Democrats are getting a lot of the votes siphoned off from Johnson, all right? And if she could crack 15%, yeah, I don't think Democrats can win this race. So you would replace one of the worst governors in the country, all right, Brown, with potentially upwards of a MAGA-type conservative. Not, top-of-the-line MAGA, but still a good, generic MAGA conservative that could get some good things done. That would be huge. Now, again, I'm not saying this is going to permanently change Oregon or anything crazy like that. I am saying, however, that Oregon could potentially go from one of the worst governors in the country to a fairly generic type of MAGA conservative. And it's potential that they take back, good chunk of the state legislature. Now, again, I don't think they're going to flip both chambers or anything like that. I just think that both chambers will get closer. And if Republicans can win the governorship, yeah, that adds a bunch of salt to the wound for the Democrats. But again, I'm not saying it's going to happen or anything like that. Just saying that, hey, Republicans have a shot here. Now, folks, that is the video for today. We talked about the Oregon governorship, Idaho governorship, talked to a couple of the representatives, and yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes, of course, go follow that mysterious Twitter account in the description down below. And yeah, Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.